Chunky Monkey, Fish Food, Cherry Garcia, and Chocolate Therapy. Do these names sound familiar? These are the flavors of the beloved ice cream, Ben & Jerry's. Today I will be telling a story about Ben & Jerry's, more specifically, the early years. Let's start off with how they met. They met in public school, middle school, way back then. They were both pudgy kids that happened to be in the back of the line on the track every single day. Well, since they were always in that particular spot every day, they started talking, and they realized that they had many common interests, and they liked each other. Well, their schooling togetherness continued. They were together through high school, still best of friends. However, after high school, they kind of parted different ways. Ben tried his hand at pottery. That didn't go so well. Nobody wanted to buy Ben's pots. So he ended up moving to New York for inspiration. Still didn't go very well. Jerry had aspirations of becoming a doctor, actually. Well, in order to become a doctor, you need to get accepted in medical school. He wasn't successful at that. After the first bout of rejections and after the second bout of rejections, he decided to join his friend Ben again in New York. Well, the two started thinking, man, we're not doing very good on all our particular ventures and everything. Let's go ahead and start our own venture. So they were tossing around ideas. The first idea that came to mind was food. They were experts at eating food, so they must be experts at making food. The other item was, maybe after they're done with that, do cross-country truck driving. As I'm sure everybody knows today, they never got to this idea. Well, in order to carry on this food, they started to try to think what would be the optimal business in order to sell their product. So they were thinking, well, it needs to be something trendy. And this was in the 70s. They were in New York, so they were kind of in the center of where trends kind of happened. So they wanted to pick something that was trendy in New York that they could bring to a college town that might not have it. And that was either bagels or ice cream. So they went to the local business that sold kitchen equipment, and they talked to a guy named Lou. And Lou's first thing that he said to them is he looked like Columbo, if anybody knows what that is. And he had this really cigar type voice and everything. And he would all of a sudden say, "I'll never screw you. Life's way too short." And Lou said, "You can't do bagels. Bagels are far too expensive for the equipment. You need to do ice cream. Ice cream is cheap to buy the equipment." So they went with that. Well, then came the search for where to do their ice cream shop, because some of you may not know, but they first started as a shop, not in distribution. So they wanted to find a place that was a college town. They looked very far south in Atlanta and everything, and on Georgia, on working their way up. But every time they found somebody who was already there making ice cream. Well, they checked out New York, upstate New York, found a place. It was great. They started to get their shop going and everything like that, and then they got word that there was another ice cream shop getting ready to open. Far too much competition for Ben & Jerry's to have another shop just opening. So they decided to move once again to Burlington, Vermont, of all places. A place that, for some of you might know, is really cold 7 months out of the year. Not the best place to bring ice cream. Well, they soon realized that themselves firsthand. For when the winter months came along, not many people was buying ice cream. So they came up with a neat sales plan, and that had to do with, they offered a penny off for every degree Celsius it was below zero.
Oh, wow.
And when their product was only 50 or 60 cents, that's quite a savings. People came, but not enough. So at this moment, I'd like to stop for a second here and kind of say why Ben & Jerry's intrigued me. Why was I interested? And that is because many people see Ben & Jerry's, especially with their names of their ice creams, as maybe a bunch of stoners and everything like that. And that's maybe not that far from the truth, but there is there's a method behind the madness with these guys. So they're methodical stoners. And that is, they were to, back in the 70s, look at the SBA. SBA stands for Small Business Association. This group offers pamphlets and how-to guides as to how to do this. And they bought every single pamphlet that they offered and followed to the letter of the law. So when they went to Burlington, Vermont, these two stoners were on the corners with these clickers counting customers going by. Just imagine that. This Ben and Jerry's out there with the little clickers and all that. So they continue this checking in with the SBA for best practices. And that help came again during the wintertime when they were about to go bankrupt, out of money. The sales, 1 penny per degree, wasn't doing it for them. Well, all of a sudden, they reached out and they were offered a mentorship. There's a program called SCORE, which stands for Service Corps of Retired Executives. Well, that particular executive that got paired up with them suggested, it's no problem that you're about to go bankrupt. All you have to do is go to the bank and request a moratorium on your loan. Genius. He went to the bank, asked for the moratorium. They said, sure, that's no problem. All we will do is just extend your loan out this amount of duration, and you'll just have to pay interest in the meantime. That little maneuver carried them through. So this is the early years of Ben & Jerry. This pretty much marks their ice cream parlor days, which in many cases the ice cream shop was some of their favorite years. We have ice cream distribution that came after that, but as you can see from the yellow light, that's for another day. So let's do the takeaway here. The takeaway is learn from Ben & Jerry. Check out the SBA website. Those two gentlemen use that website or agency extensively, and they really benefited from it. And lastly, love your flavor of Ben & Jerry's that you already can't get enough of. And if you don't have one, it's time to find one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark.